Hello and welcome everybody. Gage here from Sharp. Excited to have you with me for another episode of Battle of the Blades, Nakiri edition number 2. So we were looking through some of our old videos and we noticed that we have not done a Battle of the Blades for Nakiris for quite a while. I think it's been 4 or 5 months. And Jake had an awesome idea where we would pick 3 brand new Nakiris to battle against one another. And then the winner of this episode will take on the winner of the last episode, which was the Shirokamo Nakiri, which we just got in stock again. And then we'll battle those 2 blades against each other and see who is the ultimate Nakiri victor. So in today's episode, the 3 knives that we will be battling against each other are, and in no particular order, the Motokyuuichi Nashiji Aogami number 2, Nakiri, ironclad. Jake will confirm that in post. Balance point is right about here, quite blade forward. So I would say just about balance point is right about here. So your pinch grip is going to fall maybe just a centimeter or 2 towards the or back from there. So it's quite blade heavy, but for a Nakiri, I think that's always appropriate balance. Edge geometry on this guy is really nice as well. It's quite thin behind the edge. Fit and finish is pretty good on it as well. The spine is not super round, but it's not sharp by any means either, nor is the choil in here. So quite a comfortable feeling knife. Walnut handle with a black packawood ferrule on it, octagonal in shape, so suitable for righties and lefties. Not a heavy knife, but not a light knife either. This guy is going to be the most difficult to maintain of the 3 that we are battling today, so something to keep in mind. Ironclad means this whole blade will rust, whereas the other 2 knives that we're battling against are fully stainless steel, so they'll be much easier to maintain. This guy is the most affordable of the 3 knives that we're battling against one another, which doesn't really mean anything, but we'll just see how it performs against the other 2. So probably the most, I don't want to say plain looking knives, because I really like the look of this guy. It looks really, really cool with that sort of rustic sort of finish on the blade. But certainly not as fancy as at least one of the other knives that we're going to battle. So next knife is the Shigeki Tanaka Ginsan Nakiri. All 3 of these guys are 165 millimeters. Balance point on this guy is basically the exact same spot as the Motokyuuichi. So maybe a centimeter and a half, 2 centimeters forward of your pinch grip. Makes it blade heavy, which is nice. Again, spine is a little more like shouldery. Like this guy's, the Motokyuuichi is a little more rounded. Again, certainly still a comfortable feeling knife. Nothing, no big issues here, but not quite as well sanded as the Motokyuuichi. Has the exact same handle on it, walnut with black packawood ferrule on it. Suitable for righties and lefties. Edge geometry on it is pretty similar to the Motokyuuichi as well. It's not quite as tall of a blade, so I'm interested to see how that goes into my choice today. And sort of pretty similar in weight to the Motokyuuichi as well. So there you have it. Last but certainly not least is the fanciest of the 3 knives that we're going to be looking at today, which is the Yu Kurosaki Senko with turquoise handle on it. So this guy is made from SG2 or R2 stainless steel. Really great edge retention on these guys. I don't find, especially Yu Kurosaki's knives, to be all that difficult to sharpen. They are so crazy thin behind the edge that, at least for the first couple years of sharpening this guy, you're going to find it really easy because there's not a whole lot of steel behind the edge to remove to get it sharp again. Pretty nice tall blade, just maybe a millimeter taller than the Motokyuuichi. And then of course has the most spectacular handle of the 3 knives, turquoise, synthetic turquoise, supposed to look like gemstone for the ferrule, aluminum spacer and wenge handle, octagonal in shape, so suitable for righties and lefties. Very, very nicely sanded spine, perfectly rounded off. Choil, not quite as well sanded, I'm noticing here, but still very, very well sanded down, very comfortable in the hand. Balance point is, again, all 3 of these knives are basically balanced in the exact same spot, maybe 1.5 centimeters, 2 centimeters forward of your pinch grip. Yeah, really, really nice. All three of these guys are relatively flat, as is the case for most Nakiri, but I would say the Ginsan Tanaka has the most sort of belly to it. It curves up the most aggressively of the three knives right at the tip here, so we'll probably be able to do the most rocking with this guy, but the Yu Kurosaki has a bit of a belly on it as well, the Motokyuuichi being the flattest profile, I would say, of the three. So we'll see how that factors into our decision here today. So without further ado, we're going to get into some chopping, and we might as well go in the same order here. So we'll start with the Motokyuuichi. All right, so the first knife we're checking out here is the Motokyuuichi Nakiri. This guy performed super, super well. I was very impressed, especially being the most affordable of the three knives that we're checking out. It punches way above its weight class. It's certainly very reactive. So something to keep in mind with this guy, again, that it's ironclad, so this whole blade can rust. Like I said, very reactive. So when I was dicing up some of the onions, I was noticing I was getting a little bit of oxidation on the onions, which is never great. This is a brand new knife and it's got no patina formed on it, so that issue would alleviate itself once you've built a bit of a patina on it. But again, something to keep in mind if you're new to Japanese knives, though this is a pretty affordable blade, it's going to require quite a bit of diligence with regards to its maintenance. But if you're just going after cutting feel, cutting performance, and you're willing to undertake a little bit of extra maintenance, this guy's fantastic. Going through carrots like they weren't even there. The Brunoise carrot was super easy with this guy. I felt like I could be very precise with it. Cutting the rounds on the thickest part of the carrot was really easy as well. Taking the cheeks off before I was doing my Brunoise was really easy also. Bell peppers, it excelled at that. The scallions were no issue for it either. And what else did we cut? That was it. Carrot, bell pepper, onions 2 times. So yeah, I really have nothing bad to say about this guy in terms of cutting performance. It's more so just the maintenance and the oxidation on this guy. So yeah, really, really impressed with this. The next knife we chopped with was the Shigeki Tanaka Ginsan. Certainly not a bad feeling knife. If I were just rating this guy, doing a review on this guy, I'm sure I would have only positive things to say about it, but in comparison to these other 2 blades, I did find it lacked a little bit. It has a weird, and Jake and I were looking at the edge geometry and the grind on it and trying to figure out why this was happening, but it's got a bit of a steer into my hands a little bit, so I didn't particularly enjoy that. But it was relatively sharp. No, I should say very sharp. It was the only of the 3 knives that we had to touch up on the stone. So the other 2 were out of the box edges, and this guy was sharpened before we started with it. The Tanaka knives have not been coming in with the greatest edges, so we've been sharpening them all when they come in. So it performed really well because it had been sharpened. Out of the box edge on this guy was bad, and maybe just the way we sharpened it is what caused that steering on us. But once I got over that, it performed really well. Like the carrots were really easy with this guy. Everything it performed really well. The only thing I maybe didn't like so much with this guy was the dicing of the onion, doing the initial perpendicular cuts on the radial cuts on the onion. I didn't find the tip moved through the onion super easily, but other than that, it performed really well at the scallions, the bell peppers, and the carrots, but certainly not as well as the Motokyuuichi. So the thing that this guy has going for it is that it's stainless steel, very easy to sharpen. So if you're looking for something easy to maintain, sort of in the mid-range, this guy's still a great option, but I would probably take the, for me, like I don't mind the ironclad, so I'd probably take the Motokyuuichi over the Tanaka Ginsan. Finally, we had the Senko, and this guy was definitely my favorite. It's got the nicest feel in the hand, with the spine being really nicely sanded, the choil being really nicely sanded, and just the balance of the knife. They all balanced sort of in the same spot, but for whatever reason, maybe just the fancier handle, I don't know, it just felt really, really nice in the hand. It's got a really nice tall blade on it, the tallest of the three. So that definitely, I could feel that when I was doing my julienne on the onions. It performed exceptionally well at everything: carrots, scallions, onions. The only thing it wasn't awesome at was the bell peppers, but I have a feeling that's just because of the out of the box edge on this guy. If you maybe touched it up on a 1K before hitting those bell peppers, I'm sure it would perform much better. I think it was just lacking a little bit of that bite that you get from those sort of medium grit stones. It's still extremely sharp, and it performed really well at everything else. And of course is stainless steel, so no reaction on the onions or anything like that. So yeah, the Senko definitely won. I really enjoyed using this knife, as were all the knives. They were all great to work with, but winner was the Senko, followed closely by the Motokyuuichi, and then the Ginsan kind of rounding up the three. So yeah, again, you're definitely paying for a nicer fit and finish, a fancier aesthetic, and a much nicer handle on this guy. But it while it did outperform the Motokyuuichi just by just a touch. So the Motokyuuichi is kind of like the best, most improved, or the I don't know, the best value knife. The Senko just best overall, and the Ginsan solid knife, but I would definitely consider these two before I considered this one. So there you have it, guys. The winner being the Senko Nakiri is going to face off against the Shirokamo Aogami Super Nakiri in our next episode. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Maybe you agree with us, maybe you disagree with us. We'd love to hear from you. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to our channel for more knife related content. We really appreciate it. Till the next one, stay sharp.